regulators are not in business to get customers their money back. They look for the huge frauds, the Michael Milkins, that type of situation they'll get involved in. They won't get involved in the cases that we bring for our individual clients. It just doesn't happen. Even if the regulators are investigating, it won't happen.
Ted, for a customer to retain your services, how materialistic, what size loss must they have sustained in order to make it a business decision?
For us?
Yeah.
I would say now it's about $500,000 and up in terms of out-of-pocket loss.
Okay. Otherwise, it just at least to retain your firm.
We have, we're a big firm in this area in terms of personnel.
Right.
We have 5 attorneys. We have law students. We have secretaries. That's big for a boutique firm specializing in securities fraud for the claimant. All right. We are very selective, as Ted pointed out, in the cases that we take. We only take good cases, and we only take cases where there's a big number.
Ted, I assume that your clients want to settle these cases when they feel that there's some sort of thing that they did.
Without a doubt.
How often do you settle cases, even before it gets to arbitration?
I represent probably in the last year 10 different brokerage firms, from small to some of the most well-known names you'd recognize, and they have one thing in common. If there's a bad case, they want to do the right thing. They want to pay the money, they want to settle it, and they want to move on. What happens a lot of times is you run into a plaintiff's attorney who is asking for an exorbitant amount of money. The client lost $100,000 and they won't settle for less than $500,000.
Because of the punitive aspects, you mean?
Because whatever they want to argue, some of those cases with really bad facts, the brokerage firms are almost forced to go to hearing on because they can't settle it for a reasonable amount. And I think that's where most of the punitive damage awards come in, cases that firms normally would try to settle.
Ted, we don't see that. First of all, it was reported in the major newspapers in New York and the Wall Street Journal that we had the largest settlement on record at the New York Stock Exchange. Now, to get to that point, in any case, you're going to have to prove the case to the brokerage firm. And in order to because they have to be scared. They have to be scared that they're going to have a number that's thrown at them. When they see your name,
I'm sure they're very concerned.
I would hope so. But in order to get to that point, you usually have to go in and try your case. And sometime before award, you're going to get your best settlement if you've proven your case. And so we've seen...
During the arbitration process?
During the arbitration process. We've had cases...
Every firm's got a different kind of reputation. I can tell you from 15 years experience, your firm has got a reputation of being a tough settle. Okay, you're always fighting for that last dollar, and that's to your credit. But I have to say, most cases settle, to answer your question. Over half of cases that are filed settle. Of the half that go to arbitration, customers get an award in roughly 50% of the time.
What would be your advice to the investors out there?
My advice to investors out there is to remember that this is your money and nobody's going to protect it as well as you are. It's one thing to have a relationship with a stockbroker, but ultimately no one knows what you want better than you do. Stockbrokers are trying to do the right thing, but they're also looking for guidance from you. They don't know your investment objectives unless you clearly articulate what they are.
Yeah, but if all my friends are making money, I want to make money also.
Everybody's greedy. It's human nature. And in a market like this, people are jumping into the market. They're doing it because they want to make a quick buck. When they lose money, I guarantee you half of them are going to say, I was unsuitable. I never should have done this. My broker made me do it.
Ted?
It just doesn't happen that way. Not the way I see it.
What would be your advice to the investor out there?
Many. First of all, when you go in, advise your broker what your investment objectives are. Put it in writing, get him to acknowledge it, give it to the branch manager, meet the branch manager. Number 2.
Most important, think about what
read all the papers that you're given to sign. Number 3, sign nothing in blank. Number 4, don't give discretion to your broker.
What is
means don't let your broker act without your prior approval.
Trade your
Never.
account.
Right. Under any circumstances.
Always call me if you want to buy or sell a stock.
And reach me. You can always reach me. There's never going to be a situation where I'm not going to be available. And if I'm not going to be available, then here's the telephone number of my brother. Call him if it's so urgent.
Are those conversations taped by the brokerage firm as a matter of course?
They can. They usually are not.
Okay.
The most important thing I could tell a potential client that's never been in the market before is you have to have realistic expectations. The stories you're hearing from your friends about the killings they're making in their market may or may not be true, but I can assure you they're not hearing about the $100,000 or the $50,000 they lost. If you get in the market at any point in time, I don't care if it's a blue chip stock, a conservative stock, speculative stock, you have the opportunity to lose money.
Ted, you gave me statistics on commodities, on how many investors make money in commodities. Is there the same statistics for actually common stock?
No. Commodities are much more speculative. And the statistics I gave you actually came from a case that I tried within the last 10 days where the branch manager testified to that. So this is not something that the claimants are making up. This is the industry.
So right now, there's a tremendous feeling the stocks are going up a point, 2 points a day. You see technology stocks, $2.50 a day, $3 a day. Everybody wants to make money, but what's your advice to those people who now want to get into the market?
Know what you're investing in. Learn as much as you can. Don't trust your stockbroker. Don't consider your broker a financial consultant or an account executive. That's not what they are. These people are like used car salesmen. They're selling you used products when they're selling you securities, usually. It's a security that's been traded before. Treat them that way, okay? If you don't understand the statements that you're getting from the brokerage firm, go to someone who does. Go to your accountant. If your accountant can't understand it, then there's a problem. You must be aware, buyer beware in this area.
And another good piece of advice, too, there's a lot of firms out there. Deal with a reputable firm. Check out your broker. Ask questions. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of small firms with 1 or 2 people. You don't have to deal with their firms. Deal with a big reputable firm that'll stand behind their broker.
Is there any books or something that my viewers can read to find out what stocks are suitable for them?
You know, there are plenty of books out there, but they're all written by investment advisors and stockbrokers and brokerage firms. Okay? You have to deal with someone who you trust, and then you have to check them out, and there are ways to check them out.
Ted Eppenstein, thank you very much for appearing on Lawline, and Ted Kresbach, thank you once again for appearing on Lawline. And as always, you have to watch your own money. This is Alan Schnorman, and thank you for watching Lawline.
You have been watching Lawline with your host, New York trial attorney Alan Schnorman. Mr. Schnorman will be back with you next week at the same time. If you have any questions about this week's program, please write to Lawline, 63 Wall Street, New York, New York, 10005, or call area code 212-432-9111. This program was made possible by the law firm of Zalman and Schnorman, whose practice is limited to personal injury and insurance law.